the yatra has completed more than 11 months, and then we are in Uttar Pradesh now. Every day is a valuable day. If I look back, we had very interesting experience, very important experience almost every day. Now, only 2 days back, we were face to face with the Muslim community, Muslim women. The tragic situation in which they are living is mind-boggling, because the village that we visited had about 300 families, and they were brought into this village 25 years back by somebody who wanted to establish a colony of laborers. And all these families are Muslim families, because in 25 years their population has grown. So there are about 300 families now in that particular village in Barabanki district. But they have no patta. So the condition of Muslims, this is something which have come as a very important issue to my mind during my journey, because in Kerala, in Ernakulam, about 500 Muslim women came to tell me that we have no place to go. We live in slums, and going back to villages is difficult because we have no village to go back. We are born and brought up in these slums. Same thing happened when we were traveling through Karnataka. So all over India, wherever I went, whether it is Muslims making beedi, whether it is Muslim women involved in many other activities, and generally Muslims are not seen as agriculturists because they are seen as businessmen. So in the land reforms agenda, Muslims are not generally brought in. Mr. Justice Sachar was appointed to look into the conditions of the Muslims, and he concluded that their condition is much worse than Dalits in many places. The other group of people, there are about 29 to 30 marginalized communities that we met. We met transgender. They have great problem, because all our application forms are meant for men and women. All our toilets are meant for men and women. So they ask a simple question: how do we apply for a ration card? How do we use a toilet? How do we get employment if the application forms don't carry transgender as a column? So the transgender community in India are also facing great difficulty. There is this community called Siddhis. Siddhis came from Africa. They were brought by Portuguese, and they were brought in to work for the Portuguese because they wanted to have a good boatman, and these people were strong, so they were brought in to drive the boats. Now they are left behind, people who suffered leprosy. Now, even though they are rehabilitated, even though they are free of leprosy, their children will not get married to other families because there is a fear. HIV affected people are also suffering. So we have Dalit, we have nomads, we have fisherfolks, we have transgender, we have Muslim community, we also have tea tribes. If you travel through West Bengal and Assam, you will see a lot of tea tribes. And these tea tribes are people who were brought in by the British, by the English masters, to work in the tea gardens. And they were brought from Jharkhand and Bihar. Today they are not even recognized as tribals, so the benefits that are meant for tribals will not go to them. They are called tea tribes, and they live in slum-like situation because they are working for the tea gardens. Every inch of land is taken by the tea garden owners, and these people are in colonies. Somebody who is living in a large area of land doesn't possess even 1 inch of land is a matter of shame. During the yatra, people keep asking me, how do you explain what you see on the ground? And I say it's an onion experience. It's like if you have an onion in your hand and if you start peeling it, one layer by one layer, more tears will come out of your eyes. So looking at pains and difficulty and more difficulties every day is basically a very painful experience. One major issue that I want to bring to the notice of larger public is what I call large scale transfer of resources from the farmers and village community to the multinational national companies. This is happening at an alarming rate. The other trend that we are witnessing is growing insensitivity among government officials. In a globalizing world where large industrial houses are coming and they are willing to give as much money as one is asking for, the government officials are losing their integrity. There are exceptions. There are good officials as well, and they are swimming against the currents. I am also concerned about criminalization of rural India. In order to get land and resources, when there are people resisting, the system, the multinational national companies or powerful people are using criminal elements to take the land and resources. Many young people, very healthy young people, are now getting employed into this business of crime, beating up Adivasis, forcing them to put their signature and demolishing their houses and finally making them surrender to the system is what they are doing, and they call it employment. There is also a trend of total dependency on the state. I am very concerned about it. While land and resources are getting transferred to multinational national companies, people are made completely dependent on the state. Small pensions and concessions that are being given by the government is the only way for people to survive. No self-respecting country can live this way. Jan Satyagraha is going to raise these issues. And on our travel for 1 year, we are raising these issues repeatedly in colleges, in schools, among the intellectuals, among the media people. So we hope there will be greater understanding by the end of this year, and the policy makers will understand our message and rework on the development model of India. Now the government of India is planning to call a meeting of revenue ministers. Revenue ministers are in charge of land. So this is going to be a national conference of revenue ministers, and to which I am also invited. So this is to convince the state governments, because land being a state subject, the central government is now trying to convince the state government to move faster in a direction that will provide more land and resources to the poor people and not to the powerful. On one side, we are organizing people who will come to Gwalior on 2nd of October to walk to Delhi. That is a mobilization part, there is a struggle part, there is a non-violent movement part. So we are very concerned about this dialogue process. And in this yatra, for 1 year, we were able to get about 2,000 groups on board who will believe in this process, and they are willing to use active non-violence to make the state behave differently, make the state to change their policies. So this is a challenging period in India, and I think the same situation is everywhere else. I mean, if you travel through Africa or Latin America, you see the same situation. So this is a time for people who believe in active non-violence to stand up and use their skills and capacities very effectively to get more and more people to believe in it and use it effectively.